One of the most glittering trophy cabinets in British sport is to be found at Anfield, home of Liverpool Football Club. Each and every cup and shield as highly polished as the team which won it. Also on record is the documentation of Liverpool's formation in 1892. The stimulus was a breakaway by Everton, previous occupants of the ground at Anfield Road for 8 years, following an argument about rent with their early mentor, John Holding, who owned the ground and thereupon decided to form a new club. In their first year in the Football League, Liverpool won the Second Division Championship without being beaten. Nearly all their players were brought down from Scotland by John McKenna, a Liverpool businessman of Irish descent, the guiding spirit behind the club and a prime mover in establishing Liverpool's reputation over their first 40 years. They won the First Division title in 1901. The team were unbeaten in their last 12 matches and set the Liverpool trend for consistency. They were captained by Alex Raisbeck, a Scottish international centre-half who played nearly 350 games for Liverpool. He was part of 3 championship sides, 1 in the Second Division and 2 in the First, which Liverpool won for the second time in 1906. That was the first season that the celebrated goalkeeper, Sam Hardy, spent at Anfield, where he won most of his England caps. By the time Liverpool reached their first FA Cup final in 1914, the club had switched to those now familiar red shirts. This was the last of the 20 finals to be played on the old Crystal Palace ground in South London. The nation was enjoying its last few months of peace, and the huge arena housed a massive exodus from Lancashire. On the day, any view was a good view. It was the first time a reigning monarch had attended football's premier event, but King George V presented the cup to Burnley, who won with a goal by ex-Evertonian Bert Freeman. Liverpool had to wait a further 51 years to win the cup. But after the war, they were again a force in the First Division. They won the championship in 1922, and the same team retained the title a year later, again 6 points clear of their nearest challengers. Liverpool's excellent defensive record was due in no small part to Ulsterman Elisha Scott, a revered figure at Anfield between the wars. He made 467 appearances and nearly as many great saves. His rivalry with Everton's Dixie Dean, another hero of that period, was part of Merseyside folklore. The defence the great goalkeeper commanded included 2 other Liverpool stalwarts, Ephraim Longworth, who captained England, and Don McKinley, the Liverpool skipper in those championship years. In 1926, South African Gordon Hodgson joined Liverpool, and in the next decade set a club record of 240 goals, all but 8 in the league. But it was Everton who were Merseyside's next champions. The scenes at Goodison Park when the neighbours met in October 1927 reflected the passionate following for the two clubs and mirrored their intense rivalry. Goodison had staged the first Merseyside derby in 1894, soon after Everton moved out of Anfield. And by now, the partisan feeling for the two clubs even divided families on Merseyside. This was the year Dean's 60 goals propelled Everton to the league title, while Liverpool finished a modest 16th. But league position has never mattered when the Reds and the Blues meet, only the occasion and the result. The packed Goodison stand saw a 1-1 draw that day, and later the same season the teams drew again, this time 3-3 at Anfield, with Dean getting a hat-trick. That was the last time Liverpool fans on the Spy and Cop were to get wet at a derby match. A new roof was built over the famous terrace in the summer of 1928. A crowd of 55,000 were at Anfield the following January to see Liverpool and their reluctant young mascot take part in a gripping occasion. In the FA Cup fourth round, their opponents were the outstanding cup team of the 20s, Bolton Wanderers. Winners of the first Wembley final in 1923, winners again in 1926, Bolton were chasing their third triumph in 7 seasons. Liverpool supporters had yet to go to Wembley, but if they had to take their hats off to Bolton, there was no doubting their own loyalty. Even then, attendances at Anfield were not far short of an average of 40,000. Shirt numbering was still several years away, but newsreel film of big matches was becoming popular in the cinemas. On this occasion, there were no goals to capture. And having drawn stubbornly at Anfield, Bolton won the replay 5-2. The cameras again followed Liverpool's FA Cup fortunes in 1935.
At Yeovil and Petters, would-be giant killers, are out to kill Liverpool, who are playing in dark shirts. Liverpool immediately get into their stride and attack. Now, keep the party clean. Carry on, please. And Liverpool does carry on, with goal after goal. And aren't the Yeovil crowd enthusiastic? Final score, Liverpool 6, Yeovil 2.
But on the opening day of the 1937-38 season, Liverpool were hit for 6.
It's a fine afternoon, the football is good. There are 7 goals scored, 6 of them by Chelsea as it happens, and everybody is happy. The soccer season is underway.
The 30s were an unexceptional time for Liverpool. They kept their First Division status, but lost their founding father, honest John McKenna, who died at the age of 81. For over 40 years, he'd been one of the game's leading administrators, not just with Liverpool, but also with the Football League, of which he was president for 26 years, and with the FA. It was McKenna who largely established Liverpool, and his contribution is on permanent record at Anfield. Also in 1936, George Kay came from Southampton to take over as Liverpool's manager. In the 3 seasons before the war, his team included at right half a certain Matt Busby, top left, who was later offered a coaching job at Anfield. But Busby had already made a commitment to Manchester United. Between 1939 and 1945, life on Merseyside changed as abruptly as in all the big cities. In the Blitz, Liverpool sustained more than its fair share of damage. But when league football resumed, this team were the first post-war champions. An early indication of Liverpool's intent came in their 3rd match. Billy Liddell scored his first league goals in the 7-4 thrashing of Chelsea. And suddenly, Liverpool were chasing the double.
Liverpool kicked off against Birmingham City at Anfield on a frozen, snow-covered ground that made football a really tricky business. On the screen, the team's colours look much alike, but you can perhaps tell Birmingham by their light shirt collars. Most of the time, Liverpool were well on top, and when they scored the only first-half goal, their supporters went wild. So far as support was concerned, the fans of both teams left nothing to chance. In the second half, Birmingham rallied and made heroic efforts. From a penalty, Mitchell scored to make it 1-1. Birmingham's Wembley hopes rose, but within 2 minutes, Liverpool scored again through Barmer. From now on, it was Liverpool all the way. Stubbins gets his second and Liverpool's third. Liverpool clinched their right to play in the semi-finals for the first time since 1914, when Stubbins did it again.
In the semi-final, Liverpool met their 1914 conquerors, Burnley, at Ewood Park.
With no score after 90 minutes, Liverpool do all the attacking in extra time. They force a corner. Fagan takes it. The ball goes to Bill Liddell, who kicks it out of play. Yet another goal kick, and that's it. 120 minutes of football, and the score is 0-0.
But in the replay at Main Road, with Liverpool now in white shirts, Ray Harrison scored the only goal for Burnley, and Liverpool were left to concentrate on the league. They beat Wolves 2-1 in Stan Cullis's last match to win the championship in a blanket finish. The immortal Scottish international Billy Liddell, an Anfield legend over 22 years, was at the peak of his powers.
The 1946-7 was a great triumph, because nobody expected us to win the league. And it was a wonderful season right through.
How readily do the names come back to you of that Liverpool championship side just after the war?
Oh, well, it's quite easily recognisable now. I mean, Cyril Sidlaw, the Welsh goalkeeper, Ray Lambert, Phil Taylor, Laurie Hughes, Bill Jones, Bobby Paisley, Barry Newhayes, Jack Balmer, and Albert Stubbins. Yes, he came down that particular year, and Willie Fagan and myself.
Lifted by little, Liverpool lost only one of their last 16 matches. Behind him, a wing half from County Durham, who was to spend the next 40 years at Anfield.
We had a good side then, and I'd have liked them to have been sort of younger. The war years, the 6 war years, took the cream off the likes of Phil Taylor and Jack Balmer and them, when they were absolutely in the prime then, when the war started.
In 1950, Liverpool and Everton met in the FA Cup semi-final at Main Road, and Paisley scored the opening goal with a lob which dropped through the crowded goalmouth to put Liverpool on the road to Wembley for the first time in the club's history. But on the eve of the final against Arsenal, Paisley was dropped in favour of Bill Jones, even though his name was printed in the expected Liverpool lineup in the programme.
And I missed the cup final, of course, and there was no substitute. So, but I did. The FA awarded me a medal for them. But it was a disappointment, and one that stood me in good stead often after, because when I was in the manager's seat, and then I had to leave someone out of games, then when I said I knew how he felt, they knew that I did.
Well, here we are, on the way to Wembley on the day, and what a day. The prospect was indeed a wet one. Quite a number out of the vast throng of football fans had come by car, regardless of expense. As a matter of fact, neither the price of petrol nor the filthy weather could rob anyone of their enjoyment on this outing. Then forth came the teams. Arsenal in white shorts, Liverpool in white shirts and black shorts. Taylor won the toss from Mercer, and a few seconds later the rivals were all set to go. Arsenal kicked off and at once thrust forward towards the enemy's goal, but they didn't get far, Liverpool soon checking them and clearing downfield. The pass from Logie gave Lewis the very opportunity he wanted. Arsenal were 1 up. Well, that was the only score in the first half, and royal spectators, no less than the rest of the Wembley fans, waited to see if Liverpool could make a comeback in the second period. Liverpool kicked off, and now was the time for them to get on terms. But almost at once, Arsenal were on the rampage again. And within about 15 minutes, a centre from Cox was banged home by Lewis. Arsenal 2 up.
That was how it finished. Liverpool's 2-0 defeat was a bitter disappointment for their supporters and for their manager, George Kay, who resigned a year later through ill health. His successor was Don Welsh, but in 1954, Liverpool were relegated. Everton, after 3 seasons in the second division themselves, passed them on the way up. So an FA Cup tie between the clubs at Goodison the following season had a special flavour.
Liverpool were soon forcing the pace, and less than 20 minutes had passed when the second division team put Everton 1 down with a goal by Billy Liddell. This was indeed a severe shock for the home team and their supporters. But about 10 minutes later, following a free kick, a court scored Liverpool's second. The visitors kicked off in the second half and were subjected to a resolute onslaught by Everton. Holding out against it, Liverpool returned the compliment presently and scored through Evans. Yes, Liverpool were right on top now, and when Evans did it again to clinch a 4-0 victory, all Everton's plans for Wembley were finally upset. Surprise, surprise.
But Liverpool found it hard to get out of the second division. In 1956, Don Welsh was replaced by former captain Phil Taylor. A terrible cup defeat at Worcester hastened his departure, and when in December 1959, Liverpool's next manager was welcomed by Chairman T.V. Williams, the whole outlook and destiny of the club was about to change.
just so honest in his outlook to me. He wanted it, if you went on the field, he wanted it to try and win.
Ian St John and Ron Yates came in 1961.
Now, they were the greatest signings, and they were the beginning of Liverpool. He was a tower, Yates, fantastic man. 6 feet, 1.5, the quickest singing 2 feet, strong as an ox.
When Yates looks back, his abiding memory strikes a similar chord.
I think possibly signing for Liverpool Football Club and meeting Bill Shankly for the first time. As I said, he was a hell of a man. And I remember meeting him in a hotel in Edinburgh. I'd never met the man. And Dundee United, who I come from, was at one side, the directors, and of course Bill Shankly and his directors was the other. And I thought, which side do I go? And I didn't have to make up my mind. Shanks walked out and he said, he said, Jesus, he said, you must be about 7 foot tall, son. And I said, no, I'm 6 foot 3.5. And he went, that's near enough 7 foot for me.
And St John up the front was making chances and scoring goals and making chances. And he helped to bring on Roger Hunt, who was also a great player.
Also in that side of the early 60s were a young Ian Callaghan and a balding Jimmy Melia.
Melia to St John. St John. St John now going forward. Oh, and beautiful pass. This is the second one. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Well, that's bad luck for Everton for Leyton Orient in some ways, because Lee actually cleared it off over the line, but Hunt following up, hammered it home to get his second goal from that effort by Melia. And again, St John being the man that sparked it off. We'll stand the line to Callaghan. Callaghan punching it hard across the goal, comes to Hunt. Can he get his shot in? And there's it. Oh, that's his third goal.
Liverpool won the Second Division Championship by 8 points in 1962. So Merseyside League derbies were resumed after a gap of 11 years. 73,000 packed Goodison that September.
And it looked like a handball. It looked like a handball. It's going to be a handball. Yes, a penalty to Everton. Vernon coming up for the penalty. 28 minutes of play gone. Vernon scores. Court. Again the long cross, trying to find Callaghan, but Thompson is there, best comes to Callaghan. Callaghan with the chip. It must be a goal! Stop! 5 minutes before the interval. To Billy Bingham. Vernon. Dion Vernon with a shot. Comes out, Fennell's dropped it. Come out to Morrissey. Morrissey shoots! It's in the net! It's in the net! Morrissey has scored! Taken down, it's going to be a goal! It's there! It's a goal! It's a goal! And Roger Hunt has put Liverpool equal.
Although it was Everton who went on to win the championship in that 62-63 season, Liverpool were more than keeping their feet in the First Division.
And a very, very good effort indeed by St John there. He killed it with his thigh, turned and placed it. It wasn't a question of just whacking it somewhere. He placed it in the far corner of the net to put Liverpool 2 goals to 0 in the lead, and this after just 3 minutes play of the second half. Melia taking it forward for Liverpool to St John, and a magnificent goal by St John.
But St John and Liverpool experienced dejection in the FA Cup semi-final at Hillsborough in 1963. They lost 1-0 to Leicester City and a smiling Gordon Banks. But it was boom time on Merseyside. There was plenty of work in the docks, with Liverpool's pride as a port a constant reminder of the city's great trading tradition. Behind the ships and the cranes, Merseysiders were invading the world of show business. Stars of screen and stage put the city on the map. And at the same time, its pop musicians simply took over the charts. Anfield's own Mersey sound brought the BBC's Panorama to Liverpool, the day Shankly's team clinched the championship in 1964.
The gladiators enter the arena, the field of praise. Saturday's weather perfect for an historic Scouse occasion. Liverpool in red shirts were playing before their own spectators for the last time this season. The desire to win was an agonised one. They would be the champions of England, and they wanted their own people to see them become so. They care so much about football. This season, over 2 million people on Merseyside have watched Liverpool or their neighbours Everton, last year's champions. But they don't behave like any other football crowd, especially not at one end of Anfield Ground on the Kop. The music the crowd sings is the music that Liverpool has sent echoing around the world.
It used to be thought that Welsh international rugby crowds were the most musical and passionate in the world. But I've never seen anything like this Liverpool crowd. On the field here, the gay and inventive ferocity they show is quite stunning. The Duke of Wellington, before the Battle of Waterloo, said of his own troops, "I don't know what they do to the enemy, but by God, they frighten me." And I'm sure some of the players here in this match this afternoon must be feeling the same way.
An anthropologist studying this Kop crowd would be introduced into as rich and mystifying a popular culture as in any South Sea island. Their rhythmic swaying is an elaborate and organised ritual. The 28,000 people on the Kop itself begin singing together. They seem to know intuitively when to begin. Throughout the match, they invent new words, usually within the framework of old Liverpool songs, to express adulatory, cruel, or bawdy comments about the players or the police. But even then, they begin singing these new words with one immediate, huge voice. They seem, mysteriously, to be in touch with one another, with Wacker, the spirit of Scouse. The spirit is good-humoured and generous when they're winning, but not necessarily when they're losing. On Saturday, they were certainly winning. In an hour, Liverpool scored 5 goals and could have scored more. Their poor, sacrificial victims were Arsenal, Southerners. On Merseyside, football is the consuming passion. It's hard to persuade people to talk about anything else, except perhaps the beat groups, which the Kop crowd do a lot to explain.
When Arsenal returned for the first match of the following season, it was the BBC's first ever Match of the Day.
Hunt, it's a goal!
But Liverpool had still never won the FA Cup. In 1965, they beat West Bromwich Albion in the third round, 4th Division Stockport County after a replay, Bolton Wanderers in round 5, and their hoodoo team Leicester in the 6th round, to earn a semi-final against Tommy Docherty's young Chelsea at Villa Park. It was now that Liverpool, just 3 days after an exhausting European Cup playoff against Cologne, proved their notable powers of recovery. And Peter Thompson proved with the first goal that his signing from Preston was a Shankly masterstroke. Liverpool were back at Wembley after 15 years. But their right half, Gordon Milne, another Shankly signing from his old club, was injured, and his place at Wembley went to the versatile Jeff Strong, as Liverpool faced Don Reevy's aspiring Leeds United. There was no score after 90 minutes, and the final went into extra time.
Lawler to Hunt. Hunt across to Stevenson. Stevenson. Oh, here comes Byrne. Yes, a goal by Hunt. Roger Hunt has scored. And they've gone mad. And onto the field. They're invading the pitch. There's one fellow got on, and there's a man being arrested, but he doesn't care. E-I-A-D-O, we've scored a goal. My goodness, we've never seen this at Wembley before. 2, 4, 6 policemen, and he's still waving his rattle. 5 minutes before we have a break in extra time. And there you see how much in trouble Story is. I think the Liverpool fans are chanting St. John now. Oh, there's Charlton up with the attack. Now Bremner is equalised. There's Billy Bremner, the man who scored so many important goals. He got the goal that sent Leeds to Wembley. And there the Leeds fans are happy that he's got the goal. It's made it 1 each. Here come Liverpool again. Not hurrying things, because the team that panics now will lose this cup final. It's out to Callaghan. Taking it too far. It's a goal! And there's the famous trophy. There's the Liverpool chairman raising his hand. Mr. Follows next to Her Majesty. And behind Her Majesty, Mr. Reynolds, the Leeds chairman.
See, winning the cup for the first time was the greatest emotional day for Liverpool in the history of time.
Well, it had taken 72 years for the club to lay their hands on the trophy. For many Liverpool followers, this was the unforgettable day. The resilient spirit of the 1965 side was passed down to their successors in the red shirts for the next 20 years and more. These players were in at the start of a dynasty.
It was an emotional time getting the cup from the Queen. And in fact, I just wanted to throw it into the crowd, the Liverpool supporters crowd, and say, look, you know, we've won it now. Share it between you.
The homecoming was breathtaking. Over 500,000 Liverpudlians packed the streets in the city centre to see the cup taken from Lime Street Station to the town hall. Merseyside was now the capital not just of the pop music industry, but also of the football business. Liverpool were afraid of nobody, not even the champions of Europe, who they ran out to face at Anfield only 3 days later. The injured pair, Milne and Jerry Byrne, paraded the FA Cup before the kick-off in front of an exultant Kop, whose response frightened the life out of Inter Milan.
Hunt, a goal. Great goal, a great goal by Hunt. Everyone back in defence now. Hunt, John Callaghan, he's done it. Strong going on his right. Hunt is onside. Yes. A great save as St. John has scored. And that could put Liverpool in the final.
3-1 to Liverpool in the first leg of the semi-final. But Inter had too many tricks up their sleeve in the return in Milan. And a 3-0 defeat there meant Liverpool had to wait 12 more years for the European Cup. The following season, they regained the league championship. Chelsea, London's young dudes, won at Anfield in the FA Cup third round in January. But when they returned for the league encounter in April, Chelsea were cast strictly in a supporting role, lining up in a guard of honour to applaud the champions-elect onto the pitch. The professional respect in which Shankly's team were held was there for all to see. And if one player, by his modesty and dedication, summed up those 3 memorable seasons at Anfield in the mid-60s, it was that indefatigable goal-scorer, Roger Hunt. This was 1966, the year Hunt helped England to win the World Cup. He received a knighthood from the Kop, who christened him Sir Roger. And these 2 goals helped Hunt break Gordon Hodgson's record and finish his Liverpool career with 285 goals in 489 appearances. That season, Liverpool used only 14 players, 2 of whom played just 4 games between them. Shankly would announce his team, saying it's the same as last year. And the celebrations were starting to acquire a familiar pattern. International stars like Hunt and the brilliant St John combined with the likes of young Chris Lawler and popular goalkeeper Tommy Lawrence to enable Yates' team to cross sparkling new frontiers. Liverpool's board, including President T.V. Williams and Chairman Sid Reeks, were now directing a European concern. Because in the Cup Winners' Cup that season, Liverpool did an Italian job on Juventus, starting a series of fabled Anfield comebacks with a blistering shot from the dependable Jeff Strong. A limping Strong also put paid to Scottish Cup holders Celtic in the semi-final. And in the final at Hampden Park, Liverpool faced the Germans, Borussia Dortmund.
Emmerich. And a beautiful goal by Held. This is number 11, Thompson. The linesman is flagged. The linesman is flagged. The referee's got the goal. And the linesman's put his flag down. And it's an equaliser by Hunt. Smith, and is that long one to Held? That's the dangerous one. A goal! Oh, it's a goal by Lee Buda!
Shankly's team needed new blood, and the first injection of fresh talent came from Blackpool the following March.
Emlyn Hughes is debatable if he's a better player in the game. Oh, he's got everything. Ability, guts, he's quick, good in the air. You name it, he has it.
Shorter-term buys were Tony Haitley from Chelsea and teenager Alan Evans from Wolves for £100,000. What never changed were the epic battles with Everton, now covered by the BBC in colour.
Hughes!
Liverpool really chasing everything now all the time. They've grown so much in confidence since Hughes scored that goal. Thompson. Yes, own goal! Sandy Brown. And he must wish the ground could open up. LeBeau. Hurst. Oh, he's in trouble. This is Graham. Only the goalkeeper left.
But the cold wind of change was affecting Liverpool's older players. Several bowed out after a numbing cup defeat.
We lost the game, and that was decided after the match. That was it. To break them up and start again.
Bill would be the first to say it, like he was sort of living on what they'd done and that, and but it's got to be turned over year by year.
A little hint there of the philosophy that's kept Liverpool on top. The new team included Ray Clements from Scunthorpe, Larry Lloyd from Bristol Rovers, John Toshak from Cardiff, Steve Highway from University, and fellow graduate Brian Hall, who played an important part in another significant cup tie.
It's Colin Harvey to take the throw. And he's looking for Joe Royal. There's Royal. Morrissey. Whittle! Ball! Lindsay. It's Highway. Rankin. And Morrissey. Now Whittle against Smith. And Smith too strong. Highway. Evans. Yes. Evans. Oh, what a good reverse ball. Hall. Hall had the simple job. And poor Andy Rankin in the goal lost that ball after playing so well.
And in the final, Liverpool's opponents, just as they were in 1950, were Arsenal, pursuing a league and cup double.
On Radford, number 9. Graham. To Radford. That is how many players have got the stockings rolled down. Simpson. Lloyd. Hughes to Thompson. Highway. Oh, he scored! Highway's done it! 1 minute of extra time, and Highway sold the dummy to Bob Wilson. George to Kennedy. Radford. Oh, it's going to be the equaliser! Yes, by Graham! And Liverpool relent. Radford. To George. He scored! George has done it! George has done it!
Watching Liverpool's defeat at Wembley was a 20-year-old who Shankly had signed from Scunthorpe only a few days earlier. And at the start of the following season, he took just 12 minutes to make his mark.
Got too many front, that's Keegan. Keegan with a chance, and he has scored! Kevin Keegan has scored!
Liverpool just missed out that season, but 1972-73 brought a new championship.
Highway's pace. All is square, number 8. Gallagher is up. Highway over this side, here's Hall. Fine save, but Gallagher must score. Lindsay. Cormac up. Great goal by Cormac. Callaghan. Hughes moving forward, number 6. Keegan going. Hughes!
The league title was virtually settled on Easter Monday, when arch-rivals of the 70s Leeds United were beaten at Anfield. Peter Cormac, scorer of the first goal, was a typically astute Shankly signing. And with nearly 56,000 Liverpool supporters remembering that it was here at Anfield that Leeds themselves had locked up the championship 4 years earlier, revenge was duly taken. The Yorkshire side made a present of the second goal to the magnetic Keegan. It was Shankly's third title, but his first for...
Hughes. Hooks. Koshak. Keegan. 2-0. Floated high, Lloyd. 3-0. supreme save by Clements.
It was also Liverpool's first European trophy, but Shankly left no doubt where the club's priorities still lay.
I would like to win the European Cup naturally, because that's the ultimate in Europe. But the main thing in our bread and butter is this. And that's what we want to win all the time. Never mind Europe. I'm glad I'm in Europe. It's been a great thing for Liverpool, great thing for the country. But this is our bread and butter. And this is the one that we want.
But when the league title couldn't be arranged, the FA Cup was a nice consolation prize.
Keegan! Goals pay the rent, and Keegan does his share. Flick by Toshak to Highway. Could this be two? Yes! Callahan's available behind Keegan. Beautiful ball to Smith. He didn't have to move to get it. Paul to Smith. Highway, Liverpool showing the party pieces. He wasn't offside. Smith. Yes! Keegan second. And Newcastle were undressed.
So Liverpool won the FA Cup for the second time. No great surprise in that. But what happened next bordered on the unbelievable. A few weeks later, Shankly, the man they said couldn't do without football, announced his resignation. And he meant it.
I think that if you've got a pressurised job over a long period of time, which has been a long time here, 14 and a half years, I think that there comes a time when you're a little tired, a little fed up, if that's the word, and that you feel as if, goodness gracious, why should I carry on?
He left with a gallery of memories.
John Hunt, it's there. Notice it, John. He scored. Liverpool have done it. Thompson. He scored. Lovely ball to Anderson. And it's Baker just robbed by the legs of Moran and Yates.
For me, all my players were the best. They all gave everything they had. And I got as much for them as I could. I worked for them and they worked for me. Not only are they great supporters, but they're a sense of humour. And their sayings, if you like, their chants. It's so simple. Get it, give an early pass. Then it goes from me to somebody else and it switches around. I mean, football's a matter of life and death. I said, look, it's more important than that. And it's more important to them than that, you see. A manager who's a manager and his players are honest with him and he's honest with them, he can transmit his thoughts to them. And I'm certain I've headed some balls that were going into the net. I've kept them out. Yeah. And I've scored a few goals as well. So that I've willed somebody to do something. And I've done it. At the top end, in the net, behind the goals, there's a casket, a foot down. And it was a frosty day and the groundsman took half an hour to dig the hole. But the casket is there. The man's ashes. They didn't put the ashes on it. The whole casket's in there. And all the rest of the ground around the cop end's all sprayed with ashes. So the place is it's a shrine, really.
And the shrine of Liverpool Cathedral was a suitable setting to say farewell to the great Bill Shankly in 1981. His successor at Anfield was his assistant, Bob Paisley, on the staff there since 1939. He was 55 years old when he took the job, and in his first season, Liverpool set a club record when they beat Norwegian opponents 11-0 in the Cup Winners' Cup. But all they won was a fair play trophy. The following year was different.
Liverpool breaking well here. Both Toshak and Highway, and now Case forward. That's for Toshak, and the cover was not on. Oh, what a simple goal. Taken by Kennedy. Thompson nearly made it. Toshak did. Keegan doing well. My word, how well he shook off Coleman. He's got support just inside from Highway, and Highway goes past two of them. There's a man on the far post. Toshak! Patrick! Kennedy. And there's Keegan again, and he's onside. 4-0. Another in-swinger coming up from Keegan. Toshak must be for Fairclough. Smith read it so well. Ball for Toshak, who let it go. Fairclough. Good piece of football by two players, and the youngster scores in the end. Toshak to Keegan, that was fine play. Highway now. 3 in the middle for him if he can pull it back. Toshak. 2-1. Keegan. Liverpool spreading out now. That's a fine ball for Kennedy. And what a fine goal! Hughes. 2 to his right. Keegan. Hughes again. It's a great move, this. Oh, yes. Emlyn Hughes. It's Kennedy, number 5. Turned through to him by Keegan. Fairclough on the far post, waiting. There he is!
At Wolverhampton, Liverpool required a win or a low-scoring draw from their last match to take the title. When Steve Kindon scored, it raised Queen's Park Rangers' hopes of staying top. But Liverpool proved their oldest adage: every game lasts 90 minutes.
Under 15 minutes left, and Liverpool still looking for this vital goal. Chipped up in the box, on by Toshak to Keegan, and the old firm have done it. 1-1, and that will be enough. Look at the delight on those faces of players and spectators. Neil knocking it in, comes sideways, Toshak taking his time, but using it to perfection. 2-1. Keegan. Liverpool ending the match and the season in fine style. Here's Ray Kennedy, slipped his man quite superbly, and what a lovely left foot to make it 3-1. The first 2 goals from the old firm of Keegan and Toshak, and the last one from Kennedy, who's made such an advance this season. The Kop spilling onto the pitch to celebrate the victory and the championship, and a championship won in style.
Again, there was a double of League and UEFA Cup. In Bruges, Keegan's goal from a free kick made it 4-3 on aggregate to Liverpool and brought their second European prize. For his part, Keegan said the following season would be his last at Anfield before going abroad. Now a hardened Liverpool squad was poised for another assault on the European Cup. The conversion of Ray Kennedy into a left-sided midfield player was proving an inspirational move, showing that if Shankly's powers of motivation couldn't quite be replaced, his successor had a canny tactical wisdom all of his own. Paisley's team were not going to lose their grip on the championship.
Kennedy's gone early and wasn't picked up, and scores! 4 players up, one is Johnson. Toshak! Here's Keegan. Oh, slightly backward of McDermott. Murray changing his mind. Keegan couldn't get there. Callaghan, yes! Oh, there were bodies all over the place. Johnson. Neil. He's taking it well. McDermott. Hughes. Keegan! Up comes Callaghan. Fairclough. Did well to get across in. Highway! This is Kennedy. Keegan jumped well. Case!
This time, the title was confirmed at Anfield, the flags coming out after a 0-0 draw with West Ham. The Kop were now tuning up for 2 cup finals, against Manchester United at Wembley and against Borussia Mönchengladbach in Rome. The League Championship was just the first leg of what Liverpool hoped would be a unique treble. They'd reproduced their league form in an FA Cup run which served up yet another
Neil is up on the far post, calling for a cross. McDermott. Oh, that was beautiful! And Terry McDermott has chipped the goalkeeper. Not a good punch, really. And it was knocked back in by Jimmy Case.
It required a let-off when a late Everton winner was disallowed, and a replay in which Phil Neal opened the scoring from a penalty before the Reds made it 3 successive semi-final wins over the Blues.
Now Case, it's on for Case. That's number 2. Kennedy came in, and again.
In the European Cup, progress was equally dramatic. In the quarter-final, Keegan's goal against Saint-Etienne brought the aggregate level early in the second leg. But when the French team scored early in the second half, Liverpool needed 2 more to win. Ray Kennedy got 1 back, and then just 6 minutes from time, substitute David Fairclough made the ground tremble and kept Liverpool's treble hopes alive. It was one of Anfield's most precious moments. The first final was at Wembley. Paisley led the team out, some consolation for him for 1950.
As Jimmy Greenoff's header on for Pearson, a chance on here, and Pearson is the scorer. Jones. Case, good turn. Oh yes! On by Macari. Smith slips slightly. Jimmy Greenoff. And has it gone in by Macari, is it?
As his colleagues fulfilled the loser's lap of honour, Ray Clements walked off Wembley a dejected figure. That cruel deflection off Manchester United's Jimmy Greenoff had robbed Liverpool of the treble. Now they had to lift themselves for the European Cup final in the Eternal City 4 days later. 27,000 supporters made the trip to Rome a Scouse pilgrimage. It was Liverpool's first European Cup final. Their opponents were the classy West German champions. And Merseyside's travelling army brought to the Olympic Stadium a red sunset.
Well won by Callaghan. Plenty of players forward here, Liverpool. That's nice, that's McDermott, and that's a goal! Gone off. That's a mistake, and here's Simonsen. And that's it! Oh yes! And what a delighted scorer! It's Tommy Smith! Look at it again! And with such simplicity, the European Cup surely is won.
Simplicity had long been a Liverpool watchword. The European Liverpudlians regard as their greatest night. The gleaming trophy reflected a team effort on the part of a club which has always been bigger than any individual.
Wasn't that just tremendous? You know, words fail me. I've got no voice, but tremendous. After coming off Wembley like they did, and then to put a show like that, tremendous.
The buffet that we had was the best buffet I have ever seen. It was miles and miles long, and we've picked, all the players and wives are there, the officials, we've picked at things. Bob Paisley said, let the lads in, you know, all the fans are battering on the door like this. And within 5 minutes of these hordes of fans coming in, it had gone completely picked clean. You've seen a turkey picked clean, haven't you, when it's been ravaged. This is how that buffet went. It just came, it was ants and just crawled all over it. And we must have had about 1,000 supporters got in that do, you know, and it was a fabulous night, the best ever.
When the team came home, it was to a civic reception which even outranked 1965. A city was lost in celebration. And in Her Majesty's Silver Jubilee year, there was even a royal stamp of approval. Paisley and Secretary Peter Robinson saw years of work rewarded.
It was the first time the club had ever won it, and the Dad was honoured to be manager of it, and you know, and everything went so well. The crowd behaviour, there wasn't a thing wrong about it.
I think one or two people around the club would probably also remember the 1965 Cup final, which was about a month before I joined. But it was the first time that Liverpool had won the FA Cup, and it was the one trophy at that time, the one domestic trophy that everybody coveted, and to win that was quite a thing at that time. But I think all in all, most people would say the highlight was winning the European Cup for the first time, and of course winning it in a dream city like Rome.
Now Keegan pursued his dreams in West Germany, but Robinson, Paisley and Liverpool had already lined up his successor. Kenny Dalglish arrived from Celtic, cementing the club's time-honoured Scottish connection. One of his fellow countrymen joined him at Anfield a few months later.
Brilliant goal!
Liverpool powered through to another European Cup final, and it was the Souness-Dalglish combination which accounted for Bruges at Wembley. That year, 1978, also saw the end of Tommy Smith's 18-year association with Liverpool. Anfield-born, his very roots were in the club and the 633 games he played. Ian Callaghan played 848 matches, an all-time Liverpool record. His debut came in Shankly's first season, the only Liverpool player to travel from the second division to the heights of Europe. The new Liverpool were ready to rewrite the record books. The championship team of 1978-79 is felt by some devotees to be the club's finest ever. They punished Spurs and their Argentine imports with 7 strokes of the cane, the last administered by Terry McDermott, who climaxed a typical run from midfield with one of the best goals ever seen at Anfield.
Coming short, Booth following him, so Souness takes the gap behind the defence and gets in! Forward on the attack, that's a fine ball, finds McDermott. Here is Ray Kennedy. There into the gap, it's McDermott yet again. Dalglish, Souness, 3-1. Alan Kennedy, well that's not his better foot, let's put it that way, but Dalglish is onside and can make it 4. McDermott's in here. Dalglish. McDermott. Beckham. Oh, it's 2. Dalglish turning Morland. They've got back, but it's still Dalglish. Oh! Brilliant.
Those figures bear repeating. Only 16 goals conceded in 42 matches. 68 points under the old system. Both remain championship records. Liverpool celebrated their 11th title after beating Aston Villa, and by coincidence, the same opponents were on the receiving end at Anfield again when Liverpool tied up their 12th championship a year later.
3 in the centre. Dalglish. Owen Rimmer came. McDermott. Johnson. Oh, what a start! Geddes up, it's going to come to Hurd. And there goes Geddes again. Linton. Oh, it's an own goal by Abby Cohen, is it? It's gone in at the far post. Johnson making space. Finding Dalglish. Hung on well there. And here comes Abby Cohen. Oh, I say! At the same end, he's got one back. Dirt. Lee outside him. Souness wants it played in. There he is. Touched off for David Johnson. Oh! That's the championship. Taken by McDermott. Kennedy's coming in here. Oh, it's in!
Kennedy won a championship as a teenage striker with Arsenal. Now his midfield elegance made him a priceless asset.
He out of them all was the one that they were more concerned about than anybody in my time as manager and playing in Europe and that. I had more people inquiring about Ray Kennedy than any of the others.
But when Liverpool reached the European Cup final again in 1981, it was his namesake who toppled Real Madrid.
Alan Kennedy, and he goes on, and he's gone!
European champions for the third time, Liverpool were now captained by Phil Thompson, one of their most popular home-produced players. Nobody on the continent had any doubt about their superiority, which extended now to the Football League Cup, a competition Liverpool had started to take seriously. Dalglish's goal in a Villa Park replay helped to defeat West Ham. But 1981 also saw the departure of the goalkeeper, who did so much to bring reward and respect to Anfield under Shankly and Paisley. Ray Clements deserved to be mentioned in the same breath as Elisha Scott and Sam Hardy. Clements' successor was an eccentric, colourful figure who'd served in the Rhodesian army. At first, Bruce Grobbelaar was not everybody's idea of the dependable figure you'd expect to find keeping goal for a team which left as little to chance as Liverpool. But in the years which followed, his agility and athleticism meant he hardly missed a game. Although Grobbelaar's first season looked a lost cause when Manchester City came to Anfield.
There's Kinsey, Francis screaming for it on the edge of the box. Reeves with a back flick, and it's gone in! And Grobbelaar's misery is complete. Reeves gets the goal, but really it was almost an own goal by this sad figure.
But Liverpool's season turned as sharply as the League Cup final of 1982, when they came from behind to beat Tottenham and Clements after extra time. The captains may have changed, now it was Graham Souness, but the trophies kept coming. Clements' first return to Anfield, on the last Saturday of the league season, was quite an occasion. He got a gigantic ovation from the Kop, but Liverpool, needing to win to regain the championship, were in no mood to be charitable to their former goalkeeper.
In comes Lawrenson! Dalglish. Who's up there? Oh, Dalglish is through! Kenny Dalglish! Miller's header, it's going to come to Whelan, and Whelan makes it 3-1.
John Smith, Liverpool chairman since 1973, presented the trophy to Souness. This championship had been won from the back of the field. Liverpool, 12th on Boxing Day, lost only 2 of their last 25 matches. Their 13th title was the first for a skinny figure who was to become the most prolific goals-per-game marksman the club had ever had.
Oh, and on for Rush, what a perfect through ball. And what a brilliant goal. Ian Rush celebrates the goal, but Kenny Dalglish, the creator supreme.
As a boy in North Wales, Ian Rush supported Everton. Now he showed them no mercy.
Rush to his left, onside, Ian Rush, 1-0 Liverpool, brilliant goal. Marvellously made by Alan Hansen, and put away by Ian Rush with the minimum fuss. Here's Hansen. Rush. Deflection, has taken it in. Oh, he's got free, Dalglish. And put in by Lawrenson. What a simple goal. And Liverpool here have got Everton on the rack. Dalglish, look at that, rushes through. This could be history here for Ian Rush if he scores. He's at the post. He might score now, he has. And it's the first hat-trick in a Merseyside derby since 1935. And this is where Liverpool have made the game look so easy. They've come out of defence, got into their stride, and seem to get an extra man through. It's Ian Rush. Can he score his 4th? It looks as though he has. Yes! 5-0.
Paisley, who bought Rush from Chester, was in his last season. Liverpool made it a hat-trick in the League Cup, defeating Manchester United.
Johnston. Lee. Johnston. Lee.
Again, the outlet is the fullback, Kennedy. It's in! Here's Dalglish. Shot struck Macari. Kennedy. Whelan. And again, Whelan's curled it! Brilliant goal! Ronnie Whelan, who got two last year against Spurs, has scored the second for Liverpool today. This man has won 19 major prizes, and he finishes up quite rightly and properly as a winner. And all Bob will say, I'm sure, is thanks to his players, and the championship is still to come.
Indeed it was. In 1983, Liverpool mopped up the title earlier than ever. The dressing room still had the odd Scouse accent, but in the presence of highly paid superstars, the club's pattern of preparation changed not one bit. Nor did backroom staff like Reuben Bennett, Tom Saunders, Ronnie Moran, a fixture at Anfield, Roy Evans and Joe Fagan, for whom promotion loomed. Their support enabled Paisley to win 20 trophies in 9 seasons, including 6 championships.
I don't understand him. He said he's got trouble with me. Well, goes both ways.
He is a bit hard to understand, I would think, in team meetings and the like, isn't he? He's a bit hard to understand.
Paisley's reward was a seat on the board. He was named Manager of the Year 6 times, and for Liverpool chairman Smith, his success emphasised their belief in continuity.
Say this, that in my business career, I've always believed in promoting from within. You know more about the people you've been working with for a long time, in any industry or business. And when Bill Shankly, unfortunately, decided to resign in 1974, without any hesitation, and indeed without the merest thought of advertising for his successor, we appointed Bob Paisley, because we knew what Bob had done while Bill was here. And when Bob decided to retire, without any hesitation, we had Joe Fagan.
Fagan was 62, but in his first season, Liverpool set even higher standards. So too did Ian Rush.
Straight on by Dalglish to Rush. And it's in at last. And here's Ian Rush. Another chance for him. Williams couldn't get to him. And that's 1-1. And Rush was on the far side. Oh, what a tremendous shot. Oh, and he's hovering again. There is Rush. Well, I say.
Rush scored 47 times for Liverpool in 1983-84, helping the club emulate Huddersfield Town and Arsenal by winning the First Division for the 3rd year running. Liverpool also won the League Cup for the 4th year in succession, beating Everton in a replay. And in the European Cup, they returned to Rome to face the Italian champions in their own. The cool nerve of goalkeeper Grobbelaar and that of Neil's fullback partner Alan Kennedy were both required in the penalty shootout which followed. On Kennedy's Souness now left for Italy. Without his strong presence, Liverpool drew a domestic blank in 1985, but still progressed in Europe.
Oh, pushed under the post, Walk! The breakthrough. McDonald begged and available. Whelan pulls wide to the left. This was a bit square, didn't give him anything to run onto, but here's Rush, and that's a goal! The Rush! 2 goals in a minute. Both for Ian Rush. Dalglish coming at the back. Oh, that is a magnificent goal for Jim Beglin.
But before Liverpool's 5th European Cup final, half an hour of madness and mayhem cast a deep shadow over 93 years of near-exemplary conduct. 39 people died in the shame of Heysel.
My main reflections and conclusions are that it should not have happened. I think had everyone done what they should have done, there would not have been a Heysel disaster. Unfortunately, it's a fact of life, it did happen, And it's something that very sad that Liverpool are going to have to live with now for a very long time.
With Joe Fagan's resignation, Liverpool again kept the manager's job inside Anfield, but moved it down one generation. Now the club had their first player manager. Kenny Dalglish had his own ideas. He tried different playing systems. And when Liverpool went to Watford at the turn of his first season, their away form needed improving if they were to win the championship.
Walsh, yes! Walsh always looks capable of setting something up for Liverpool. Craig Johnston's cross. Rush! Yes! Oh, it's a bit short, and here's Walsh. No doubt now.
And Grobbelaar stretching and in! That was Hansen heading down, Thomas miscued, and Rush played it back, and Whelan fired it, and it came to Mulby, and that's the equaliser. Oh, a misjudgment by Perryman, and here's Whelan. Rush is through the middle, danger here, and Rush, and a goal! They have done it! Dalglish, here's Mulby, and now Johnston, and he fires it across McMahon! For a lot of that first season in charge, Dalglish kept himself on the bench and had to keep the doubters at bay. But when he put himself back in the team on the run-in, the effect was devastating. Gillespie, Becklin again. Whelan. And Dalglish is in here. Yes! The player-manager scores the goal that may edge Liverpool nearer to their 16th championship. Liverpool won 11 and drew 1 of their last 12 games. 34 points out of a possible 36 made them champions in Dalglish's first season as manager. He'd only bought one new player, Steve McMahon, and he wasn't even in the team when the Memorial Shankly gates opened to signal the departure of the Liverpool team coach for the journey from Anfield to Wembley. This was the occasion Merseyside had waited for nearly a century. Liverpool versus Everton in the FA Cup final.
We're going to win 3-1.
What about you?
No way. Everton by 2 goals.
And just look at those without tickets, trying to find a way of getting in. I think he's made it. This is Mulby to Dalglish. Now Reid. Lineker off through the centre again. This is promising. Lineker for Everton. Saved by Grobbelaar. Lineker. 1-0 to Everton. Here's Whelan. Mulby. And here's Rush. Onside. Ian Rush. Goal. The referee was knocked over in the excitement, but Ian Rush has equalised for Liverpool.
Hansen, uncertain, and the header by Sharp, and a fine save by Grobbelaar. Here's Rush. Dalglish is up, so is Mulvey here. Dalglish, no, Johnston, yes! 2-1 to Liverpool. Craig Johnston. What a turnaround. This is Rush. Mulvey again. Oh, I say, his vision there was lovely. Whelan. And Rush is on the far side. Is this 3? It is! Ian Rush again. And surely now, the double is about to be won. And Liverpool Football Club, under their player-manager, Kenny Dalglish, have become only the 3rd team this century to win the First Division Championship and the FA Cup, the marvellous double in the same season. How they've proved the doubters wrong. What a consolation for Alan Hansen in the week he was left out of the Scotland World Cup party. These cheers, sweet music to his ears, and to those of Liverpudlians everywhere. Liverpool have won the double.
How did Dalglish cope with the extra responsibility?
Everybody's got responsibilities in whatever job they have, and none more so than what I had then. I didn't particularly notice any extra responsibility to what I had as a player, although obviously there must have been there. But you just got on with the job in hand and try and do it to the best of your ability. Unfortunately, the first season it worked out tremendously well for us. It was a dream come true for everyone, and it was far more than anyone ever expected. But we gave it a go, and we were successful. And although we won the Cup and the League, people tend to forget we're a little bit unlucky to get the semi-final of the Littlewoods Cup as well.
In Dalglish's second season at the helm, which was the last at Anfield for Juventus-bound Ian Rush, that Littlewoods Cup was the nearest Liverpool came to a trophy. Their first match saw them set a club record. A 10-0 victory over Fulham at Anfield was Liverpool's biggest win in domestic competition. The previous record had stood since 1896. In the quarter-final at Goodison, Rush crept nearer to Dixie Dean's record of 19 goals in Merseyside derbies, which he in fact equalled before he left for Italy.
Rush! Yes! It's the old story yet again.
When Liverpool went to Wembley to face Arsenal in the final, they'd never lost in the 144 matches in which Rush had scored.
That's a great ball. This is Steve McMahon. O'Leary coming across. He's left Rush.
Arsenal ruined that record, but not Rush's figures of 207 goals in 331 Liverpool matches. Peter Beardsley could not be expected to replace Rush by himself, not even at a British transfer record fee of £1.9 million. To help him share the load, Liverpool had paid £750,000 for John Aldridge. And soon, a further £900,000 went on John Barnes from Watford. When Liverpool unveiled their new team and their new alternative strip for the first time at Highbury in August 1987, a crowd of 54,000 saw all three new players figure in the first goal of the club's 96th season. With Liverpool's centenary now in sight, there's no sign of their roll of honour doing anything other than lengthening. And no sign either of them losing yet a while their deserved reputation as the greatest club in the history of the game.
I think obviously it's good organisation and good backroom staff and good directors, of course, you know, because they are a hub of it as well. They've made some good buys. We work as, it's like, and I tell people now, you know, it's a real family club, and it still is a family club. We work well together, and, you know, the success comes from that. And of course, you've got to have good players, John, there's no doubt about that. And we, for the last 20, 25 years, have had, you know, exceptional players here.
I would sum it up by saying continuity and good players.
I think the biggest thing they've got is everyone who's involved with the club and everyone who works for the club are good at their job throughout the entire club. And if you get people like that, you must have a chance of success.
We are a very, very modest club. We don't talk. We don't boast. But we are very, very professional where it counts. People who pay their money through the turnstiles want to see their team do well.
I can't remember any real one selfish one coming in and trying to rule the roost, like, you know, in his play. And it's never been allowed. The club's always been bigger than the individual. And I think that type of outlook to it is its strength.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on